Daddy. If you like what you see, comment and subscribe.
Sipping on a 40. Yo, I know it's been a minute, huh? Homie, I'm back. Yeah, I said, homie, I'm back.
Microphone check, 1 2 1 2. Check. And that's loud. Whatever. We're here, episode 39 of the Mr. Dad videocast. Fuck you, Randy.
Hi, Daddy.
Today, I feel like this is one of the most special episodes I've ever had. Being that I am being interviewed from a third party. Will be remained anonymous. Yeah, maybe. We don't know. You probably catch on to his voice. But this time, we're going to ask me questions that I have shied away from. And a lot of the questions I have no idea. I think we went over 2.
Practically none, because since we went over those, I don't even want to ask you anymore.
So it'll probably be a lot of shock value. It'll probably be a lot of things that people aren't used to or are kin to when it comes to me and actually opening up. I remember the first episode, I was saying there was no fake eggs, and I wanted to be as honest and transparent as possible. So now, here's a chance for me to actually open up to things that I may have wanted to shy away from, because when I first started this, I was a little upset.
Which is something that we're going to get into a little bit later. But with that being said, man, I hope you've been well, and I'm sure the people want to know because it's been a while.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to?
Oh, man. The last time I got out of here and I was raising these kids, that was exactly what was going on. Mm-hmm. I have a little bit more free time now.
Yeah.
My daughter's mom is back.
Stop.
So she's enjoying that time. Also, my son's mom is very active now in his life.
Oh,
so that kind of opens up some time. And it's quarantine, so... Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, real quick, let me just jump straight into it. So you were saying your son's mom is way more active in her life. Do you think that maybe your first season of Mr. Dad had a lot to do with her activity and involvement in your son's life? And also the same question goes to your daughter's mom.
Activity. I don't think... My daughter's mom, she watches it. She watches the show. Mm-hmm. So I think that she just wanted to come back. Mm. My son's mom, I think that she had some life shit that she had to figure out herself before she could fully come back and engage completely in his life. Mm. From my point of view. Yeah. So now that she's doing what she felt like she needed to do, and that's been done, she can come in and integrate herself fully. And you know, I'm never one to badmouth the parent to the kids or anything like that. Yeah. So I am very, I'm just kind of grateful, man.
So, but I mean, she's integrated back into the picture now. But does she hate your, what is this, podcast, videocast, fuck you, Randy? What
I don't think she hates it. I think the only episode that she watched was the abuse one. Mm. That's the only one that she actually commented on.
Abuse pertaining to you?
Yeah, the one, episode 5. Abuse, the one about me getting physically abused when I was young.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I don't want to go too deep into that. I really want to talk about that, but maybe a little bit. I don't want to dive in.
Okay.
Immediately. Okay. Because, I mean, I think this is going to be real deep. So, I just want to tread lightly, though, before we get there. So, so she doesn't really watch it. Why do you think she don't watch it? Is there any particular reasons?
Gosh, that's a good question. You know,
like she knows about it.
Yeah,
she stays away from it.
Yeah, I don't. Well, you know, you have to click the link, and because we don't follow each other on social medias, I don't think that she sees the teasers, or you know, if it's not sent to her, right? Like she knows the other page. I don't know if she's looked.
Yeah.
You know, if she has, she probably wouldn't tell me.
She probably has a ghost account.
Yeah, the only person, the only time I've ever got a call was from my daughter's mom. It was, I think, maybe episode 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but it was about a year and a half ago when I first started. So I know it was one of the first few episodes.
Yeah.
And she got at me because she felt like I was attacking her.
Another thing that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Because you actually helped me in a weird way. I don't want to fucking admit it, but I guess it helps. You know, when I thought in hindsight, I was like, damn, that sounds like something Mr. said. But anyway, all right, for sure, man. I just, I wanted to start. I know I said I wasn't going to go too deep, but I guess I lied. So the surgery.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of the stuff that sparked this up. So the surgery that you had a few years ago, I know you felt like your life was on the line, and I mean, before you take us back there, just I wanted to know, like, did you have any like anger, animosity, or vendettas towards anyone? Or before you can answer that question, actually, can you just take us through your thought process of before you actually went into the surgery room, like as they were pushing you on your bed, and you were watching lights flash over your head from the ceiling. What were some of your thoughts going in?
So the first time, and that's when you guys were there, the first surgery. They didn't give me a chance. At the time that I was getting ready to go in after the nurse had came in to shave me and everything.
Yeah.
She gave me what they call a cocktail, and it's literally like maybe 5 or 6 different drugs that just make you super high.
Yeah.
Like you're floating on cloud 9. So on my way down, I don't remember. I don't remember anything I said to people. I don't remember anything that I was talking. Like a lot of people said that I was super cheery and I was doing all this other stuff, and I don't remember any of it. It's like as if I took like 40 shots of some type of liquor, and then it was just over.
Without throwing up. That's actually sounds awesome, actually.
Yeah, it was more so the wake up that I kind of remember.
Okay, I see. All right, so what you call it? Now back to that question. So you didn't remember much, but before you got like super high off the cocktail, you know, of course, doctor prescribes.
Exactly.
Children, don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
This is a drug-free man.
Right.
Before you got super lit off of that, did you have any vendettas, like either during the surgery or fresh after the surgery? And when I mean vendettas, like, were you mad at family members? How did you feel about mom? Dealing with your pops? Like, where were you at with your friends?
So, with my friends, it was like the bright light. Everyone showed up. Everyone was super supportive. Everyone was trying to put me in the best spirits as possible.
A lot of people actually. Too.
Yeah. It was
lit.
Yeah, I heard.
If you were out there, if you heard some of the jokes,
vendettas, no. I think my only vendetta, like, you know, I've always had a fight with, is there a higher power? Is there a God? All this other stuff. It reinforced the fact for me that there wasn't. So it put me in a space where, even leading up to the surgery, where I was extremely angry. A lot. You know what I'm saying? And I was going through personal issues as well as financial issues and moving and trying to transition from one place to another. It was a lot of, like, I guess you can say fucked up shit that was happening during that time. So I wouldn't say I had any vendettas, and not during. Maybe before. Me and my son's mom was going through a lot of issues.
Okay.
So once the surgery happened, I think people tried to come back in for a second, but then after it kind of broke apart again.
Okay, I want to ask you more about that, and I want to touch on that because you hit on some like real good spots. But the song, the music. All right, so I don't know if you want to take a second to like let that music drop.
Oh, well, it went already.
Okay,
yeah.
Just make sure. Okay, so you don't want to play no more. You're good.
Yeah.
Okay, so why is that a song that ties you back to that time period?
Yeah.
Or it's the song that ties you back to that time period.
You know,
because you don't strike me as a Jay-Z fan in particular.
No, not at all.
But I guess certain songs resonate with you.
Yeah, "Song Cry" is my one Jay-Z song that I like, and I know a lot of people will kill me for it.
Yeah,
it's my one song that I like for different reasons.
Yeah,
I played it today because, like, I've always said I'm not a great boyfriend. You know, I'm a great father. I'm a great provider. Never been a great boyfriend.
Ooh.
So, I try to, and I strive to be, but I'm great in the grand scheme of how society looks at boyfriends and girlfriends.
Yeah. As in what, like you'll take people out, you'll open doors, you'll be a gentleman, you'll never put your hands on a girl.
Right. I'm always gonna provide, protect, all those things, but
you're not great in the sense of.
Well, you know, sometimes you cheat. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes and I'm not condoning it because it has taught me over these last 4 years after the heart surgery and things like that it's not the way to go because you do want to build a life and family and things like that. But at the time, that's what it was. Right. So when I played the song today, even though it's hella cocky, it speaks volumes to me because you have that sense of entitlement as a male. Where you're like, damn, I know what nigga living with rap.
Like that. Right.
And then, like, you are a man with a sense of pride. You know what I'm saying? So, for me, although those things happen, what I can never forgive is the friendship that you're supposed to have. So regardless if I'm living grimy or whatever, the way it is, and most people can contest this that are close to me, whenever someone's in a bad situation, I'm always at the forefront. Right. Like I'm frontline with everything that happens to anyone. So for me, it was more so you're portraying a friendship for years because I was there for you when you had surgery after surgery, even when we were bad terms. We broke up, and your grandma died, and I was there. Yeah. Your uncle died, I was there. Right. Like I carried the casket, not wanting to because it brought flashbacks. You was at my dad's funeral, I was in the front carrying the casket. It was the same exact motions. And I had to go through it, and they put me in the same exact place that I carried my dad to. His
really?
grave. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
So it was like it's life shit. Like you know, even when people come back around, they're like, well, you know, I can't trust you with women, and that's fine. Because for me, when you're with someone else, that's not a problem for me. It's more so a life problem. Like you got to be there for me when life shit happens. Yeah. Because I'm always gonna be there for you when life shit happens. Like, so for real. Even now, like you can ask either one of them, my son's mom or my daughter's mom, if they ever are in a bind.
Oh yeah, no.
They can call me.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
If food is low, if it's tissue.
Right.
I think you were telling me a story about how when this quarantine stuff first popped off, and how there wasn't really much food and many things to get in the city of LA or Hawthorne down there. But you know, in Pasadena, it hadn't hit as heavy yet. Right. And I remember you telling me you went to the store. Yeah. And I didn't question it at all. Like, if this was me 10 years ago, I would have been like, well, it's her weekend. Right. Like, let her figure it out. But I completely get it now, years later. So, that's dope. That you actually went down there and you dropped it off. So I know that you see the bigger picture when it comes to... Right, because there's no greater friend... There's no greater ship in life, to me, than friendship. It's something that you choose, something that you expand upon. Right. What to me, friend means that I'm willing to die for you. Yeah. That's why you don't see me with new friends and things like that. So for me, it just hurt me more so that it was like, all right, yo, you can do your shit, but look out because when the shoe is on the other foot, I'm gonna look out, which I still do. Yeah. So like nothing has changed. Like even though I felt a sense of betrayal, at one point I loved the fuck out of you. So therefore, I'm going to continue to assist until I either get burnt out or I get married and my wife not fucking with it. I look at it like this though. It's been years since a lot of that happened. And plus you had your first season of Mr. Dad. So wasn't that
Right.
like a form of therapy? And if it was, how do you feel now? Are you over some of the betrayal, some of the hurt? Is it completely gone? I know that you will come to a beck and call when it comes to your children in need now.
Yeah.
But years later, have you really forgiven some of the heartache that you went through?
Yes. There was one point where I couldn't get over it. It was probably about a year and a half
Yeah.
of hate and
After the surgery,
yeah.
or just a year and a half ago?
After the surgery.
Okay.
So after the surgery, which is a year and a half, surprisingly now, because it's going on the 4th year now, so maybe a year and a few months.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
And there was a time where inside, like after when I was recovering, there was a time where I truly hated the both of them. It was
Both of them, huh?
Yeah, because what ended up happening is they teamed up. It was like Avengers Unite. They never liked each other ever before this.
Until this moment, huh?
But there was one instance where she called me and was going off about a girl that I was dating after I was sick and things like that. And she had then went on, this is my son's mom, about how my daughter's mom was telling her about the girl.
Oh, can I? Am I allowed to ask the initial? Is it okay to ask the initial?
No, it's not.
Okay, cool. All right, okay, go ahead.
So she was telling her about the girl, but she was also like pretty much airing out like all the shit that I was doing when I was just talking to her and I was down and out. Yeah. And then there was a thing that she said about me, about how I never took care of Zaya. Aiden's mom was taking care of Zaya the whole time that we were together, and I didn't do shit for her.
Oh, blasphemy.
Yeah, and I was like, well, to me, it really upset me because there's never been a time where anyone but me was taking care of anybody. Yeah. And if it was two people in the house, I was taking care of both of them, the kid and the girlfriend at the time. Like there's never been a instance where Mr. wasn't with any, wasn't there with the kid. So it pissed me off. And that was the only time where I truly, and this is like me recovering. So I'm still having trouble breathing and things like that. But like what's happening here is like, it's fuck shit in reality. But I took it with a grain of salt and I just continued on. And I was like, I can't do anything but get back on my feet. Yeah. Get back to what I was doing. Let me get my daughter back once all this shit is over, which I did. Put her back in school, and now it's just me taking care of her. Yeah. So now what are you saying? Yeah. So and that was that part, and I still haven't talked to her about it. I think she denied it, but it was like you told her, like you showing her pictures and screenshots. There's all this other stuff, and I was just like, it's going too far. Yeah. Like y'all gonna team up against the only person in this world that's gonna hold.
A stand-up guy, right?
I'm the only person in this world to this day, and it's a fact, and you can ask, that will stand up for them no matter what, regardless of whatever their shortcomings are.
Yeah.
So it
And we'll talk on that too.
Yeah.
Because it's you once told me, like, yo, no matter what you're going through, don't bash your children's mom.
Right.
And you even said that in one of your previous episodes. And yeah, I could say that you've always been a stand-up guy when it comes to but wanting to be there and provide for your children. So that makes a lot of sense that you feel the way that you felt, or at least you felt the way that you felt.
Yeah.
And also I'll say this real quick just to add that I don't think in the times of heat, in the moment, I don't think there's ever going to be a mother who's dealing with a parent partnership that's really going to give the full amount of props to the parent partner dad. It just feels like, I think when the mother gives birth, you feel like entitled, like I did the hardest part to get them here. So anything you do after that is less. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not as much.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that, or am I wrong? Am I off?
Well, I don't think that you're off. I think that when it comes to parenting,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a two-way street. I feel like mothers are always going to be able to give their children more love, caring, devotion,
Yeah,
and we're
gotcha.
always going to be able to have to be that disciplinarian.
Mm-hmm.
And it never those roles
Those roles, right?
never change because I was reading a long time ago when I wrote a paper on kids being grown up because I was really big on dads without moms, single moms.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised by a single mom, and so I did a whole report on the effects of just a mom raising a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And it says that at the age of 7, male children start to be disobedient to their mom because they think they're stronger than them.
Mm.
At age 7. So they need the father in a home to fix that.
Absolutely agree.
So there has to be some type of adjustment. There has to be a yin and yang. That's why I never understand when males get shut down.
Can you send this video when you're done to my son's mom? But anyway. Oh man, I have a son who's turning 14 this year, and this is something I've been practicing and preaching. Like, hey, I need him in the supervision of a positive male role model. And otherwise, it's going to be to the benefit or the downfall of him. But anyway, what you call it? I wanted to ask you. Before we get into this next topic, because it's gonna be serious. Before we leave the whole hospital scenario.
Yeah.
And this is not talking about the about the heart surgery in
like it's
particular.
going left.
Have you ever smashed on the hospital bed? I mean, we gotta lighten the mood up a little bit. Ever?
Ever?
Ever.
You know what? I got bit on my hand.
Okay, I thought
When
you were
I
going
was-
to say bit. Okay.
I got bit on my hand. It was like 2004, 2005.
By a dog, right?
Yeah.
I think I remember this.
At Huntington, and yeah.
Yeah?
She came through with my girlfriend at the time.
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna say no names.
Yeah, no names.
But you know
No
her.
initials?
No.
Okay, cool.
It's
Alright,
like-
tell me afterwards.
But yeah, she came in, gave it up. Like she was like, "Oh, your hand hurts." It was like, yeah. But then like the nurse came in, and she had to get out the bed, and they kicked her out the hospital.
Oh, she got caught?
No, she didn't get caught, but they were just like, "You can't
you
be
can't
in
be
the
caught
bed."
on it?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I guess the name? I was just messing around. Alright, so... Alright, for sure. So, just to get back to a serious note, you said something that I'm sure a lot of people who may watch may not understand about you. And, to not drag it out, you said that it made you feel like you didn't want to believe in a higher power.
Yeah.
Like, you felt like, why me? What's up? Like, I've done nothing but try to be a good person all my life. God, why would you send me through this, right? So,
Yeah.
like, that complex with or your relationship or your views, I should say. Do you not feel, and I'm sure people at home are probably thinking in a traditional sense, like, well, it's probably God the reason, even if you don't believe God believes in you, it's probably the reason why you're here now. So if someone was to say that to you, God is probably the reason why you made it past this heart surgery. You got a scar up your chest, probably 6, 7, 8 inches.
Yeah.
And most people would say that wouldn't have been possible to make it past without the strength of God. So what would you say to them?
I think it's the strength of me.
No.
I think that I'm not going to sound, it's going to sound cocky, but it's not. Johnsons have been fighting through shit. My daughter and my son were both preemies. They pushed through. I think that it's all about your willpower to do something. When I say, I've always been more spiritual than anything. I always say the universe. If there is a higher power, I believe in it's a multi-religion versus mono-religions because they were here before anything else. I feel like your will always get you through things. Like, for instance, if we take Tupac, for example, he got shot those 5 times, and then his will brought him back, but your body weakens.
Yeah.
So after he got shot the second time, his will couldn't bring him back. It was just too much trauma to the body. I think your body can take a certain amount of trauma.
Right.
I know people in the hood that's been shot, 9 times it's still walking around.
You can look at insects, right?
Right.
Like you can step on them. Sometimes they can come back from it, but if you completely smash them,
It's just over. Like, you know, when I ask these people, when people always ask me about religion in general, the shit that irks me is that if you get down to the nitty gritty of religion itself, and someone asks you, and you ask that final question to any pastor or anything else like that, they tell you have to have faith. And if faith is what you're going off of, if your significant other says, Dale, right now, if you jump off this cliff, it's 1,000 feet, you will not die. And you ask them, how do I know that? And they say, as long as you have faith, what are you going to do? Stare at them like they're fucking crazy. Right. But no one does that when it becomes to religion. So I don't knock religion. I feel like it's a very important tool for society. I feel like it keeps us in check and things like that. But if you have morals and roles and things like that, and you actually have a code, then you probably won't do all that dumb shit. There's been times where, you know, you have a proverbial gun in your hand, and you may have pulled the trigger, and, you know, nothing came too negative of it unless it got you out of a situation. So I never believed in religion. I feel like it's a great tool for society, but it's not for me. Even as like a little kid, like 7, 8 years old, when did it hit you? When I was 7, 8 years old, my mom used to make us go to church every Sunday, right? And that God couldn't protect us from her being abused, us being abused, putting that person out the house, and we're there all the time. So that's in the grand scheme of everything, it's like, you didn't save us doing it when we were young. Like, how are you going to save us now? Okay. You know what? That's perfect, because that brings me to, wow, that's deep, and I can relate to that. You know what I'm saying? You got to have willpower, emotion, like faith in yourself. Right. I would always tell my mom, like, I get you, I hear you, but even if you want to go the God route, God gives you the energy and the strength to do something yourself. So, but just to segue to the next topic, I know that you said the abuse and the things that you experienced, right, and how nothing was really being done to stop it, right? And I know that episode you were extremely emotional. Yeah. Right. So I want you to explain to people how you felt after going so vulnerable. Because I think in that episode that you were talking about the abuse and things you dealt with your stepdad, I don't remember if you cried per se, but I heard cry in your voice. Right. I stopped myself. I heard it. I heard the crack in your voice. I can hear it. Right. So after putting that out, how did you feel? Did it feel like a sense of relief? Were you like embarrassed? Were you like, damn, what was I thinking? No, because I've edited it. And I could have taken it out. But, you know, no fake eggs. And I'm always going to stand tall on that. That's why I'm answering these questions. Wait, you said you edited it? Or no, I could have edited it out. Okay, cool. Yeah, but I didn't. Okay. And so here's the thing. After that video, it was one of the first videos that made me feel better. Because I was really enraged. Maybe until episode 15. But episode 5 really took a lot of that off. It took a lot of it off only because I was never able to say it. And most of the time when we're vulnerable as males, people look at us funny. Yeah. And like my brother told me a long time ago, when he first got out of jail, he was like, it's okay, to be vulnerable. Like he said, you know, you can cry. He said, I'll cry and whoop a nigga's ass. Yeah. And that's what I live by now. So I'm not really scared to cry. Like even now, like thinking about it, and it helped too because like now when I talk about the abuse that I got when I was little, that I received when I was little, it doesn't affect me as much. It doesn't give me the power, but it takes away the pain. And plus, you should feel good, of course, like you sharing your story and being vulnerable. So even if the people that's immediately in your life don't feel like it was worth it, you know that later on it may come to actually help a lot of people. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so I have a question. What's up? Because, you know, when you're talking about that, do you think that you can still love someone even after you hated them?
I feel like yes. I feel like for me, love is not a switch where you can turn on and off.
Uh-huh.
I feel like you can love a person and hate a person at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you think about time, hate, love, all of these are really definitions made up by men. When it comes down to feeling, you can't really describe or define a feeling.
Right.
It's too hard. That's why most people don't know how to feel when you ask them, explain to me how you're feeling right now.
Uh-huh.
It's impossible for most people because
Yeah.
it's a feeling, it's an energy that can't be explained. So I do feel like you can hate someone at a time and still hate them for what they did at a time period.
Mm-hmm.
But later on, come to understand some of the pressures and the frustrations which led them to that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, to answer your question, yes. I feel like you can.
I agree.
What you agree?
I agree.
Okay.
I totally agree.
So, and you said after episode 15,
Uh-huh.
about episode 15 is when you started to really, like feel better. Like you started to like let go a lot of the pressure, the stress, and all the things that you were holding on to that was bottled up inside of you.
Right.
But at that point, you had probably released so much information, and it was probably so therapeutic for you that you probably impacted a lot of the relationships. That's what I meant by immediately impacting people who was hearing you at the moment.
Uh-huh.
How was that relationship with all of those people? Like, did you have a lot of changing relationships with like your brother, your mom? You released things about your family upbringings that most people may have never known about you. And maybe these are sometimes Easter eggs for the family.
Right.
Or Easter eggs in a different sense. You know what I mean? Rock Easter eggs, I guess you could say, that the family wants to keep to themselves. So did that kind of throw off a lot of your relationships with your family members?
No, I try my hardest to, and that's why this episode is great for me, because I always try my hardest to not offend the family. I did. I said stuff to them, but it didn't change anything.
Right.
Because I was the one that pretty much I was telling the truth.
Yeah.
Like if they would have felt like there was something fictitious, if they felt like it was something fictitious or something that I said that was wrong in any way, they would have checked me on it. My sisters watch this. They always, they even been on. My mom has been on.
That's true.
So
they endorsed, they
yeah,
supported what you were doing.
exactly. They're like, yo, you got to get this off. And when you watch them, man, it's like my brother loved the episode with my dad. Even at the end where I put that clip of me at the cemetery, that clip was from 2008, 9. Like I didn't even when I was at the cemetery, I didn't even know I would ever use that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was it was before we were just sitting there recording everything.
Yeah.
Like I don't pull out my phone and record stuff now only because I want to live in a moment. So
Good.
My family really, really enjoys the fact that I am very open about the stuff that we're going through. But I would never throw anybody under the bus because there's a lot of shit that happened with that abuse episode that I could have thrown in.
Yeah.
But I wanted to keep their side for them to tell.
Right.
Because my side for me to tell is what I put out there.
That's commendable. That's really commendable, actually. So I'm gonna go deeper into that. I mean, I would love to do this again with you and really super dissect a lot of your episodes, but maybe at the end of your season 2, I would love to go in. Just to share some shit. So going back to that whole hospital thing, I remember this is just to share a story with you. I don't know if you know this, but I want it to be on record. So I went down to the hospital to see you. And I remember going in, and I remember your mom, I thought, said something along the lines of, his heart rate can't drop below a certain point, and he needs to be stimulated, and he needs to stay awake. That's what I thought I heard. So I remember after you had the surgery, I think the second one, it was one of the big ones.
It was the first one.
It was the first one. So after you had the heart surgery, I'm sitting there, I'm like tapping your shoulder, I'm trying to shake your hand and wake you up, and I'm like, yo, don't go to sleep. And I'm like, I'm beating you to death, like verbally, because I didn't want you to fall asleep. Because I was like, yo, his life is in my hands because nobody else is talking to him. He's supposed to be stimulated. I'm like, yo, you remember that girl we met back in? And I'm like, yo, why ain't nobody else telling him stories? Am I the only one that's going to keep him alive right now? And then the nurse comes in and she's like, excuse me, sir. He needs his rest. What are you doing? You know? And I'm like, I'm keeping him awake because didn't they say his life can't? And they were like, no, like his heart rate can't drop below this point. So if it starts to, then that's when you call us.
Oh.
So I misunderstood that. That was something that stayed on my. I felt like I was saving your life that night, and I was actually damn near killing you by not letting you rest after heart surgery.
You know what though?
What's up?
Although I was sound asleep, I woke up for a second. I could hear you yelling. I shit you not. I couldn't wake up. I couldn't wake up, and I could feel the machine blowing up my lungs.
Yeah.
And retracting my lungs.
Yeah.
Like I could feel it.
Jeez.
Like it couldn't control it, but I could feel it. Like
yeah.
It felt like they were blowing up balloons. It was crazy.
Gosh.
And I could hear you, and I could hear my sister Tanisha.
Yeah.
She came and she was talking to me, and she was holding my hand.
And that was one of the first times you've seen her in a long time, right?
Well, it was a while. It was a while. So I didn't even know she came down. She came down. My auntie Pat sent her. My auntie Pat called her, and yeah, I remember hearing you, and I don't know what day it was because I ended up being asleep for like 24 hours, and I was only supposed to be asleep for 7. But as you know, I don't take medicine. Yeah. So it overworked. The anesthesia overworked, so I was just out.
I just know it was night, man. And your mom was like, go buy me a chicken salad. It was like, yo, all the times that I've stayed the night at your house without I owe her thousands of chicken salads. So, but your mom has always been a stand-up trooper. Obviously, she's held it down. Yeah. I wanted to talk about that maybe a little bit later more on your mom. She's a dope person, but I still want to ask you questions that most people probably never would even dare to ask you. But back to your father. Your father, you were talking about carrying the casket and being in the same place. And you being a father, of course, most of us in this generation, we don't know how to operate. I was looking at one of your stories, one of your video casts earlier, your vlogs earlier, and you were saying how there's no blueprint for this. Yeah. And so if you could ask your father anything in this very moment, if there was any question that you can ask him, let the people know and let us know what it is that you would ask.
If I could ask
just one question.
How do you navigate through life with codes and morals without jeopardizing them or compromising them?
How do you navigate through life without jeopardizing your morals and codes? Is that even possible?
To be honest, I believe so. My dad did it. Yeah. My brothers did it. Like, I'm very old school about things, right? Probably not as old school as Miguel, but I'm very old school about like my morals and the way that I operate. Right. But throughout life, everyone's not on that same sound wave. Right. Everyone's not on that same frequency in life. Yeah. So to me, it's like my dad was living in a back house at whatever age, I forgot that he died. And he was always honest and to himself. Yeah. My mom has always been honest to herself. And I think that we lose that now with us being able to see shit all the time, to digest shit. Like, people think that it's new, the things that the police are doing to us. Yeah. When I witnessed it when I was young. Right. So it's like, for me, it's like, how do you continue to stand up when everyone else is falling? Yeah.
No, it's almost impossible. Yeah. A lot of times.
Because you still gotta stick to the grain. Right. You gotta stick to your morals. Yeah. You got and if you don't, and if you do, it doesn't favor you. Right. Like I said, remember I went to a few different like background checks with, different various law enforcements, and my code will not allow me to give up anyone that I know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or anyone that I know of.
Even if you could have came up,
exactly.
And it could have benefited you personally.
Exactly. So you end up losing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, yeah. Oh, I get what
hey,
okay, so
where's your brother? Where does he live?
Right.
I know, but I don't.
My code can't allow me.
I can't break that. You know what I'm saying?
So, and you navigate through life. So, in other words, you feel like you're sometimes dealt the short end of the stick because you actually have integrity and a moral compass.
Absolutely. And that's what they spill. Like, they spill integrity. Integrity this, integrity that. But there's never enough integrity when someone is getting killed and shot at different hands of fellow law enforcement or whatever. Right. Where's the integrity then? You're backing up your own kind. So when I do it, it's wrong. Yeah. But when you do it, it's right.
Right.
And that's I believe that's the definition of not having integrity.
That's exactly what
because if your code says that you're not supposed to be doing this, you have to stick to that code. Right. And my code is going to always tell me to never ever do anything that's going to jeopardize anyone that's around me. Right. If I'm part of a certain lifestyle, I am not to go against the grain of that lifestyle or tell according to that lifestyle. So I would have to ask him that because he was so strong in his, because when I re-met him when I was 18, it sounds crazy, but when I met him for the first time for real when I was 18, not when I was 12 because I was a halfway house visit, doesn't count. But when I met him when I was 18, his code was still intact. Never told on anybody, never did anything outside of what he knows because that's the mentality. So, that would be my main question because I know sometimes it's hard for me, even though I am a man of morals. Yeah, especially when you start to feel like, damn, I'm one of the only one that's operating with this this sense of integrity or man of moral mentality. So, well, I don't want to hold you too much longer, but I just got a couple more questions for you. What you call it? As far as being transparent about kids, okay, so I told you earlier, like that you helped me, where you were like, you never want to bash your kid's mom. So, real quick, I had a story where I kind of like told my son, like, yo, I'm sorry, your mom, blah, 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 because of blah, 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 blah. And I was being transparent by showing him some evidence that would then make him realize that, yo, I'm here. Right. She's not at the moment. And so, but you told me in particular, like, yo, you can't ever do stuff like that. Like, how did you come? Like, now I know you said your mom never bashed your pops, which is awesome. Right. Because that gave you that opportunity to come to that conclusion that your dad wasn't a bad person because she let you make up. Is that the reason why you were telling me that, or is it more that you wanted to add to that? I think that yes, that's one of the main reasons. You want your kid to form their own opinion only because they're going to form their own opinion regardless of what you say. Right. Because if I tell you that someone's crazy for years and then you finally meet that person and they're not crazy, you'll be like, but it doesn't add up. Yeah. And as kids, our opinions don't form like that. And you're looking for the crazy, and it's like, yo. But as adults, it starts to click. Okay. No, it starts to click. No, so it starts to click. So that's the issue. Yeah. That arises. Okay. All right, for sure. I mean, I'm gonna take that. And I'm gonna review this, and I'm gonna try to make sure I keep that in mind. Because there's not much you can do about if they are crazy or if they aren't. Because at the end of the day, it's perception. The kid's always gonna take the side of the absent parent. I heard that. Somebody just told me that because abuse, not the abuse, but the person who may just whoever isn't there in the picture. They're going to be like, well, it's your fault that person's not here. And it's not even your fault. It's the want. It's just the want. The craving for a full. And unless you see it with your own eyes, the want that you have for your parent is always going to trump the love that the other parent is giving you because you're always going to be searching for it. That's a gem. I hope you guys replay that part, no matter what. Yeah, because it's not, there's no winning in those situations because it's like, well, regardless of what you say, I still want I want that love. I want to feel that love because they may see somebody else with their kid. And it'd be like, okay, well, what do you want us to do? Like, I can't make this other person come. Mm-hmm. However, if I bash them to you, it's all about perception. Yeah. Mom is not around or dad is not around for this reason in my head. Yeah. I just want them. Yeah. So don't tell me anything bad because I just want the love. For real. And let me experience this. Right. It's in a weird way that they need to experience that for themselves. Right.
All right. So talking about experiences, your daughter's getting older. Yeah. And I remember in season 1 you were talking about like, look, like don't tell me about your month, like your personal monthly. Like this is hard for me, but you did your best, and I'm sure you got a hang of that now. Yeah. But the next phase is potentially dating. Yeah. And not just that, you also said that at some point in one of your seasons, you said in the earlier season, you said. Some point, like, just your children just stop listening to you. They just have to challenge you. They don't really listen to you as much anymore. So combine that into the whole dating aspect and just share your thoughts on that, if you can.
I think you got to hit them young. What? I think you got to hit it young. I think you have to put all the morals you can in. Yeah. Because I know as myself, like a lot of parents forget when they were young.
Right. Yes.
So.
Another gem.
Yeah, so I'm not going to sit there and forget that what I was doing with 12, 13, what I was feeling, what I was starting to want. Right. You know, the different, the urge, the changes, just to get out and understand what the fuck is, what is this? And why am I feeling this way? What's this tingle? Why is my penis rising? Like things like that. Yeah. So,
you try to keep that in consideration. You take that into consideration when.
Well, my daughter's mom the other day sent me a picture of my daughter, right, in like a dress. It was like a sweater dress. Okay. And I was just like, and I was joking with her mom, like, oh no, she'd take that off. She's like, wow, we're the only ones in the house. I said, it doesn't matter, like, and she's going to grow up. She's going to get shapely. Her mom is very busty. Yeah. Like I know my daughter's going to inherit all that. Yeah. And it's just like. You just got to hope that you do your best job before they get into high school. Because once they get into high school, you pretty much got to let them out on their own.
Gems, damn.
And just let them learn, live and learn. I hope that you don't get pregnant. I hope that you're not a whore.
Well, wow. Okay, I didn't know you were going to go there. But I get what you're saying. You dropped the gem of saying that your work is always a preventative measure. A prevention measure. Like you're already installing the seeds long before they get to the actual obstacles and issues in the road. If
you just look back to your morals, your mentalities, everything happening in adolescent years. Everything. The way that your mind forms, the things that goes on in your head, the way that you react to things, everything is happening in your adolescent years. If you was a really timid kid, most likely you're going to be a very timid teenager or adult. Right. And unless you learn new habits. Yeah. So I feel like as long as you put in the work, parents, you have to put in the work. Early on. And then everything will fall into place. That's just my opinion.
Gems. And you stay present to see the fruits of your labor actually.
There always has to be a follow through.
It got to be a follow through. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, gems, man. Okay, you're on fire right now. Okay. So what you call it? Literally a couple of more questions, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. But so you got a young, gorgeous boy, gorgeous daughter. Like they're both beautiful kids. And how do you? And when I say gorgeous, I'm saying like their personalities are so different. Yeah. Their personalities are so different and so vibrant. Yes. But they're opposite in a weird way. Yes. And so how do you avoid favoritism with your daughter? Like, come on, a daddy's girl, and then you turn around and talk about your first son as a man. Right. How do you avoid favoritism? And is it even possible? Most parents don't talk about it, but is it favoritism there? And if it's not, how is that even possible?
I think, so Jason asked me a question like maybe a year ago. We were on the phone, and he was like, yeah, yo, man, so I just want to ask you this question. You know, Jason get to some bullshit ass question. I'm like, okay, what the fuck? He's like, yo, who you love more, your daughter or your son?
Hey, shout out to Jay, man.
Right, and I was just like, and it was after I left because he was up there with me and Zaya. And me and Zaya went up there to visit. And he was like, yeah, like, which one you love more, man? And he was like, ha, ha, ha. And I was like, I can't answer it. I feel like I love them equally. Mm-hmm. However, there's a difference.
Personality.
There's a clear-cut difference. My daughter was a yeller, screamer. You remember when we were at your mom's house and we got kicked out the next day? She was yelling all night. Your mom was like, yo. Like, you know, and I respected it. But it was like,
my mom kicked me out 2 years later. But
oh, yeah, that's true. So it was like,
she's the kicker outer.
Right. So,
I love you, Mom.
So it was like years and years and years of like, with Zaya, with just Zaya.
Yeah.
And raising a daughter is way different from raising a son.
Hell yeah.
So it was like, my daughter, she was very like clingy, but she was girly. Excuse me. She would rip up a whole bunch of pieces of paper, and then instead of like having a mess all over the floor like she would put it into a pile so I could clean it up, and then she would grab her little purse and then walk off. My son will build something, break that shit, throw it all over the room, and just run and do something else. Right? So that is their personalities in a nutshell. Zaya is very calm. Aiden is very thing. But I think that Zaya's mission through life, Zaya's passage to get where she is now, I think is that much more because she was born 3 months early. There was a lot more care in there. There was a lot of more dad involvement when it came to like precious time, I guess. Yeah. My son is by far the greatest like person. You know, he plays, he loves, he's very loving, he loves football. We go outside and play. He's like a tank. Yeah. He runs into things, gets back up. He says, I'm okay. And then he just gets up and goes again.
His personality, his energy.
Right. So energy-wise, I would say Aiden, but like loving-wise, being like the neat, calm person is Zaya for sure.
So neat and calm. So
yeah, she's neat and calm.
So
I love it.
You said that so Aiden would rip everything up and he'll like kick rocks afterwards. Yeah. Zaya would like rip everything up and then
put it into a pile. Like literally, she would rip up everything and put it in a pile. You wake up like if you feel dozed off on her, and it would be ripped up paper, but in a pile. So it's a
beautiful mess.
Yeah.
So let me transition into let me transition because I believe that us as men a lot of times we're all over the place.
Right.
We're messy. We leave our messes behind us. Right. But then like I think women. Like there's such beautiful specimens in a weird way because they may have messes, but they bring them all together.
They tidy
with it. And I don't know if you want to take that as a metaphor for like they can have secrets and be all over the place, but they can clean their shit up. But that's me. That you would have to interview me on it. Yeah, that's dark. That came from a weird place.
Yeah.
But so speaking of women though, like and messes and baggage and cleaning up. Do you personally think, and this is just a real question. Okay. I don't even think I would ever ask. I think I've asked you maybe this once or twice before, but do you think that it's possible to ever be satisfied by one woman, a special woman, where like just no matter how messy she may be, she cleaned it up for you and you're willing to clean up after it? Is it possible? If so, yes. If no, why?
To clean up after a woman?
Yeah. And just to be satisfied with just one woman's mess.
So you're talking about like monogamy?
Not necessarily monogamy, but is there one woman that you can see yourself with, or do you think it's possible to see yourself with one woman for the rest of your life?
For sure.
Dealing with all the messes that they may bring to your room or your household.
For sure.
Yeah.
Only because I'm a mess.
So y'all can clean up together.
Well, there's not too many people out there.
By the way, I like your accountability and your honest when it comes to this.
There's not too many people out there that's messier than me. This is what I'm thinking. Like, especially when it comes to relationships, it has to be a special type of person to deal with me. Yeah. So if they're willing to deal with me, and I'm willing to deal with them, because it's a very fine line.
M's right there.
So whatever's gonna make you better, if someone's gonna make me better, I'm willing.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we're gonna make each other better, that's even better.
Yeah.
So like, I felt like the majority of my life I've just been making people better. So for someone that I wanted to love, and I want to be with for the rest of my life, they would have to also make me better.
Got it.
Hold me accountable because, you know, I can be a tank.
No, that's dope. Yeah, hey, you said 8 and like this.
Right.
It runs in the bloodline, right? All right, so real quick, I only got a couple of more questions. I promise you, we up out of here.
That's fine.
But with that being said, props to you for actually taking accountability for maybe you feeling like a mess at times. I think as all of us, if we take accountability for being messes, then we can know what type of, let's say, utensil we could be in need for to help us clean up our mess. Whether it's a mop, a broom, whether it's a weed whacker. But you first gotta identify that the yard is messy, or if it's the fucking kitchen. Okay, so let me get off my metaphors.
So basically you're just saying that you have to pinpoint the issue before you can attack it.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes I'm talking. I've seen images before I even see like the actual issue. But so let me just before we get up out of here. So you've done a lot of these, and we're glad you're back and whatnot. But have you had a particular like favorite guest or a favorite episode that means the most to you that you could share with the people from the first season?
I think the abuse episode was my most impactful. I feel like episode, I think that was 9 of Mr. Dad, where it was just all the dads. That was one of my favorite because the perspectives, the information that I received from Miguel, Miguel hitting on all the points that we as fathers have to deal with inside courts, and how it has now started to balance out, and it's all about finances and who can do best for the kid.
Yeah,
I thought that was a gem.
And I love his perspective because, in particular, he doesn't do social media, so he doesn't. His mind hasn't been conformed to what the norm is. Right. So he's completely detached, and this is pure, just him and passed down from his father or his influences.
When I first started, and there was more clarity than I had ever had before, because I had taken a year off hiatus from social media. Yeah. So there was a level of clarity that I never had before.
I remember that.
Because you know, it does taint you, because every time you log on, you see something that is super fictitious. It's not. These people's lives are not factual. You take 30 pictures to get the perfect shot. Yeah, that's 40 pictures to get the perfect shot. Yeah. Like, you're not really out on cruises and stuff. Sometimes we're posting old ass vacation videos.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So you know, you can see now that everyone's on an even platform, but you're only going to put out the best you for people to see. Yeah. It's not often that you just it's not that's why I really love your Black Fridays, because it gives you a level of humility where you're like, this is actual human interaction. Yeah. This is what people are actually thinking, and it's not a warped mind, because people think that you're warped. A lot of people are like, what the fuck is Dale talking about? It's like he's talking in metaphors, but if you're really listening to what the fuck he has to say,
it's all sound crazy how it makes sense.
But it makes sense because we can only gauge people off what we see. So people are always going to want to put the best versions. Right. For someone to jump out on a limb and put some real life, this is my fucking life, this is how it is. Yeah. For people to see is more refreshing to me.
Yeah, I feel you. It's crazy. I had some woman hit me in my inbox, and she was like, "Oh, I love when you post these. Like, you just have the dopest personality." And I said, "These are only 1 minute clips. Like, you don't know my ups and downs and my frustrations, but I hear you. I am trying to be transparent. I'm trying to like show off my geeky side. Like, I'm just being me. I'm showing off like the intelligence, but sometimes I say some dumb shit. I might stutter. So now I'm just trying to be real. But speaking of being real, whatnot, I know that this was a real source of therapy for you. Right. And you've been gone for like months, and I know I looked forward to a lot of this, and I know a lot of people look forward to what you had to say. Right. Every Monday when you would drop. Is this no longer a sense of therapy now that you've gotten most of this off your chest?
No, it still is. That's why the video started to slow down, because I think you had said something earlier. It's life experiences build the struggle, or struggle builds the art, or something like that you were saying earlier to me.
Oh no, that wasn't me. That sounded like a smart motherfucker. No, it's fine. Go ahead.
But for me, Mr. Dad has always been something that it has to hit hard. It has to be something that is relatable to me. It has to be something that is really important for me to jump out on a ledge and put something out there, because I don't want to just be talking.
No, I feel you.
So if I'm just talking, I'm wasting everyone's time.
Right.
To me.
Yeah.
So if it's not something that's deep, I really don't want to talk about it.
Well, you definitely hit us with a stack of gems tonight. I know that there's some that I probably wouldn't even catch until I look back, but there were some that I was able to acknowledge in the moment.
Uh-huh.
But with that being said, do you have any particular plans moving forward with your Mr. Dad presentations in the future? Is there anything that we can look forward to? Any things you want to cover? Any things you want to things that's been bothering you as you start to roll out some more of your episodes that we can look forward to?
Man, I'm gonna have women on here, some women coming up, and I think that'll be something interesting. I think women have a way of pulling things out of you that you don't want to show.
Yeah.
You know, a way of showing your cards.
That's true.
And so I think that's going to be great. I think that's going to be dope. I also think that the next monologue that I'm going to do is going to be great. Monologue's like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a good one.
So we're going to hold you accountable for consistency.
Yeah.
We're looking.
Looking
for you.
I'm gonna be consistent.
And I'm gonna talk some shit. Because, I was calling you
right, wind it up.
Dog, I had a regiment where I would drive down to work. I would listen to Mr. Dad. Then I would listen to State of the Culture, and then I would listen to probably the weekend episode of Joe Budden podcast or something like that. And I remember once you stopped, I stopped looking for State of the Culture because it just threw off my whole, because I looked forward to it. And I was like, well, but at the end of the day, I was like, well, this may be a positive. I always try to find a silver lining.
Right.
I said, if he's not consistently uploading right now, it's probably because he's experiencing life, he's enjoying life, and maybe he found the therapy in some of his earlier episodes, so he should be straight. So with that being said, whether you're straight or not, we look to your insight and your knowledge, man. But is there anything you want to say to the people before we get up out of here?
Not, for the past 3 years, I've been searching for outlets to channel energy, regardless if it's positive, negative, or neutral. I just want people to take our time, because I know right now there's a coronavirus. People are stuck in the house. The shit that people is trying to look forward to, and there's people dying. I've lost a few people that I knew from coronavirus, older. And I just want everyone to know that as long as you remain positive in this world and speak great things in the universe, it usually happens. And also, save 10% of all your money.
Oh yeah, help the people.
Save 10% of all your money.
In.
Yeah.
People are getting money
and
in
if you're getting 1,000 at a time, what's $100?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To put it to the side, that's 10%.
Yeah.
So, that's just my financial advice.
Yeah.
So we good.
All right, cool. Help the people out, man. Thank you for your energy, your time, and all your uploads, videos, your dedication, man. And we really look forward to hearing from you in the future, man.
For sure, y'all. And everybody stay safe out there. We got to get out here and raise these kids.
Bye-bye, Daddy.